This gospel today is a continuation of our gospel yesterday. We already learned 5 lessons in yesterday's gospel, the parable of a dishonest steward. And today I would like to highlight 3 lessons we can learn from this gospel. The first lesson we can learn from this gospel is that prosperity is a blessing. Many preachers and scholars would even agree to this, that because even in the Jewish culture, they know that their prosperity comes from God. Everything they have comes from God. And the blessing of this only ends when you do not turn it into a blessing to others too. And so when you acknowledge that your prosperity, your wealth, your talent, everything you have comes from God, you must pass it on. It is good that this morning you were listening to music and then I heard that song, Pass It On. It only takes a spark to make hearts burning, to keep our hearts burning, and that is called passion. And when you realize that you are blessed by God and you have so much, do not keep it. Do not just hide it, but flaunt it, share it, and make it a blessing to others as well. Because we are only really, if you have so much, you are only a channel of that grace of God to others. Number 2, which is also very beautiful. Those who are trustworthy with great ones, those who are trustworthy in very small matters is also trustworthy in great ones. Many of us have this dream of winning a lotto, winning in lotto, so that we can do great things. Who wouldn't want to build a cathedral for me, perhaps, or for who wouldn't want to feed 5,000 people? We want to do great things. But the challenge of our gospel today is not just to dream of doing great things, but I would like to quote what Mother Teresa said. It's not doing great things, but it's doing small things with great love. When you do small things with great love, then you are on your way to greatness. And that is heaven. That's why our gospel today is very beautiful. Because it reminds us that God is looking at you, God is watching us and even in very small matters, in very small actions, in very small gestures we do with one another. Even perhaps just by smiling to someone you meet inside the elevator, that might makes the day to another person. Or offering a glass of water, or just a very small gesture can really go beyond when you do it with great love. It is really love that matters, naman. We always also say it's the thought that counts. But for us Catholic, it should be the love that counts. Lastly, you cannot serve both God and Mammon. We are back to our last lesson yesterday. What was the last lesson yesterday?
Faithful.
Be faithful. But the question there is, how can we be faithful? What is the way to be becoming more faithful? I would like to suggest 3 things. Ang dami kong 3 things today. Ang aga-aga pa. First, if you want to be faithful, think less of yourself. There are so many people who are entitled. And that's why they cannot accommodate service and others, because they are entitled. Think less of yourself and you create more room for others. Second, think more of others. And that's what I call loving service. When you realize that other people exist, when you realize that the other people's value as well, our professor in theology would say the way you vow to the tabernacle should also be the way you vow to one another. You genuflect to one another. You say it's like namaste in India. The sacred in us should always learn to greet the greatness also in the other. Think less of yourself and think more of the other. And lastly, think God constantly. When I say think God constantly, put God at the center of your decisions, put God in your thoughts, put God in your actions, put God everywhere you are, anywhere you are, even when you are committing sin. Even if you are turning away from God, put God there. Because that's the nature of God. Finding the lost, becoming light to those who are in the dark, becoming a friend to the sinner. Because God is part in every one of us. And so, we must always think God constantly. That's how we build our fidelity with God. By thinking less of ourselves, by thinking more of others, and by thinking God